Deep in a Canadian child's backyard lies a forest of whimsy. Though more often than not, it's a forest of Winnie. This is the 100-Acre Wood. These countless acres did not exist simply to make for beautiful scenery, although they were still very good as such. Rather, they were, and always will be, both a home and a home away from home. Because only being at home, of course, would be a rather tedious way to live. Our story begins—
My kidneys are missing.
Oh, wow. Our story begins, the way most stories do, at the home of one bear of very little brain.
Is that me?
Who else? Good to see you, Winnie the Pooh.
And I to you, also. Although I cannot see you exactly. Unless seeing you refers to the letters above my house of sand. If I cannot read, does that mean I cannot see you?
Pooh Bear,
Yes.
you're acknowledging the fiction again.
Oh, I'm sorry. I often forget I'm part of these sorts of things.
Oh, it's quite all right. Carry on with your affairs.
That's fair.
Winnie the Pooh is a simple bear. A simple bear who lives by her name. Not her own name, mind you, but the name she was given. By which I mean the name of Sanders. A rather puzzling name, though one Pooh wore with conviction. It was, after all, the name she was given. As Pooh did not wish for her friends to lose their way before visiting her, she made sure to make her house live up to her name, or rather, the one she was given, by burrowing a home beneath the sand dunes closest to the maple trees. Pooh liked that last part very much, though she was still getting used to sand making its way inside her favorite maple syrup pots every Tuesday.
You mean honey?
No, Pooh Bear, those were filled with maple syrup.
Honey!
Sure. Every Tuesday, sand would make its way inside Pooh's favorite honey pots.
At least it's only the empty ones.
These are among the small things Pooh was often thankful for, which also included a very small friend.
Pooh Bear!
Hello, Piglet, my very best friend.
Piglet liked that Pooh always added that part to his name. Not because Piglet ever forgot such things, but because it reassured him that Pooh never did.
Happy Tuesday to you! May I ask why you decided to pay me this pleasant visit?
You may.
Why have you decided to pay me this pleasant visit?
I got some spare acorns from the tree to my house, and I thought they'd, help liven up your home as a sort of, decorative moat.
What? Piglet, no, that's not an acorn, that's a pine cone.
No, I'm fairly certain Piglet's right.
Those look nothing like acorns, Pooh.
That may be, but if they weren't acorns, then that would mean that Piglet, my very best friend, is a liar. And I just don't see any situation where that's possible. Are you still there?
Please just carry on.
All right. Thank you very much for the thoughtful gift. I'll be sure to decorate right away.
Huh? Pooh, where'd they go? First thing they were here, and now they're not, and I know you wouldn't take them because you would never, but now my gift for you is gone, and I just don't know what's going on anymore.
Calm down, Piglet, my very best friend. They must have wandered off somewhere, but they couldn't have gone far. Acorns aren't known for their fast feet.
But neither are we, Pooh.
Which is exactly why we, and only we, are fit to catch them. As they say, to know one's foe means to go toe-to-toe. Or so it goes.
Who are they?
Rabbit, of course. They recently decided to be many rabbits instead of the lone rabbit. Or at least that's what I think they said when they politely asked me to stop referring to him as he.
I see. That sounds exciting. I'll have to go and meet the rest of them soon.
As shall I. I can never seem to run into all of them at once. But first, Piglet, my very best friend, we must investigate the case of the disappearing acorns. And if my intuition is correct, the best intuition to follow is rabbits.
Well, you've never been wrong before.
The secret is to have others be right for you. Now let's get going. Rabbit's garden should be in the very next page.
Pooh!
Oh, that is to say, the very next stage, past the fourth wall.
Oh, by the way, before we stop by Rabbit's, I loaned a book to Eeyore that I need to go pick up at his place. Can we make a detour for just a tiny spell?
Of course. Though I don't believe I can spell much more than that.
Let me say right now that Winnie the Pooh never did uncover the case of the missing acorns. At least not until 95 years later, when the acorns buried around Pooh's home grew into a wondrously tall pine tree. But by the time that story is ready to be told, anyone in the world can tell it however they see fit. In the meantime, we will use these in-between years to tell the stories only we can provide in the Canadian wonderland known as the 100-Acre Wood. Now, circling back to Chapter 2... Oh, bother.
Up north in the Great Canucks, with the snow and trees and the geese and ducks, one bear's got much of nothing left to do.
And lots of pots of honey too.
So if you've got time to spare for some friends to meet and some tales to share, then make the most along with Winnie the Pooh.